If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve the minutes from our last meeting.
So moved.
Okay, we have a motion for approval of minutes. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. And at this time, I'll turn it over to Greg.
Okay, thank you, Gary. There is not anyone online that I can see. I'm going to take just a few minutes, just kind of review quickly our committee's tasks and some of the things that which we are responsible for. I love technology. Just wish it would work better. Please be patient with me. There it goes. Okay. So the duration of the moratorium, the large-scale livestock moratorium is, as you all remember, was for a period of 6 months, unless the moratorium was extended for a period of up to 6 months. The moratorium duration actually will be ending April 2nd. So we are kind of coming up close to that. We have formulated a resolution which is going to go through tonight's Planning and Development Committee meeting, because the Planning and Development Committee is the committee that this committee reports to. So they will take to county board resolution tonight requesting up to 2 months for us to complete our work. We've already been delayed once by weather. We will continue to strive to get done here before the end of March. It'll be challenging, but we will try to get things done before the middle of April. But we're going to ask for the extension tonight at Planning and Development, and then that will go forward to county board. So we already have this in the process. Just again, a quick review of the special committee's duties. The committee is supposed to perform the duties that were in Section 8 of the moratorium. So going back to Section 8 of the moratorium, there were 3 specific areas which were asked to be reviewed during the moratorium. The first one there is to review existing state and local regulations ordinances, which in essence, this has been the bulk of our meetings to date. We've done a lot of review of local regulations, local ordinances, state ordinances and regulations to bring us to where we are today. So we've done a lot of our background educational information. The other 2 duties for the special committee: to identify areas where new regulations may be needed, or current regulations need to be modified. And the third one there, identify who has monitoring and citation authority. Through these process with this committee is going to develop the recommendations for our staff, planning and development, land conservation, in conjunction with Corporation Council, on the revision and or creation of ordinances. The process that the county has is that this committee will not draft the language, but the recommendation of what goes into the ordinances and revisions. Then the staff will formulate those recommendations as allowed by state statutes and the powers granted by the state onto the county into the revisions and creations of new ordinances. When staff completes that, we will forward that off to Planning and Development Committee and the Land Conservation Commission. Some of the duties, as recommendations come out of this group, some of these are duties which are specific to the Land Conservation Commission, so that's why they would go there. But also, Land Conservation Commission would report it back to the Planning and Development Committee of the County Board. Continuing on, then the Planning and Development Committee of the County Board, along with the Land Conservation Commission, will forward their recommendations off to the County Board. The County Board will take action based upon the recommendations. One thing we have to remember is that there are potentially public hearing notices, which are required by state statutes that we would have to follow. So we will be going through a process for administration purposes to follow all of these things. We should be able to still do this within that 2-month extension. So I just kind of wanted to clarify that because not all of you are involved with county government, not sure of some of these steps that we have to go through. So I just wanted to kind of review some of these things that we will be doing, taking those recommendations, formulating them on to the proper committees. Yes, Ellen?
Yeah, I just wanted to emphasize, you kind of left this off. Last meeting we had, I was told I should go to the groundwater committee because groundwater has nothing to do with the study group. And in section 3, it does say to allow Eau Claire County to investigate the impacts of large-scale livestock facilities on groundwater, surface water, and air quality. So every one of those paragraphs has something about water in it. And I think we don't want to lose that focus because why else would we be doing this if it wasn't for, well, maybe because we don't like CAPOs.
Well, it's water protection,
It's
soil
water
protection,
protection.
natural
and
resource
also
protection.
Land protection, protecting our soils. So I just want to emphasize again, it's public health and safety, it's the groundwater and the contamination.
Yes, thank you. So I just kind of wanted to outline that for the group. As I said, some of you may not be familiar with the process that we typically go through, just so that you're aware. Is there any other? Yes, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, what you showed us there seems fairly specific to operations of 1,000 animal units or not. But on our to-do list is manure storage and livestock siting. And of course, those affect not only CAFOs, but smaller ones too. We're still going to do this, aren't we?
Correct.
Okay.
Yep. The moratorium specifically outlined large-scale livestock operations.
Okay.
The task or the creation of the special committee expanded that to include the manure storage. So you're still within your task. Yes. Good question. Very good question. Anything else on that? Otherwise, that's really what I wanted to spend a little bit of time so that we all kind of know the process that we would be going forward with the recommendations as we're moving forward. Otherwise, I guess next thing what we were going to do is dive into the discussions on the NR 151 egg performance standards. Did everyone do their homework and study up on NR 151? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The groups are going to be a little light today.
Yes, we will.
I do have a quick question.
Yes.
Do we need to make a quorum here for this meeting?
Yes,
Okay,
which we did.
Which we did.
okay,
We did by one person, so.
okay.
Yes, we are at quorum. So please don't anyone leave.
Yeah, definitely at 3 today. Yeah, I need to leave by 3.
Okay, we will try to keep things moving along.
It keeps snowing, no one's gonna leave.
We're gonna have this thing hammered out by the end of February then.
Yeah.
We're all here, yeah. Thank you.
We'll watch the sun come up tomorrow and I'll smile because our job will be done.
What's on?
The sun's
It's not
there.
forecast.
The sun comes up every day.
I at least gotta change the clothes in the car.
Somebody's really optimistic.
Go to the cities.
Okay, so
Yeah.
sorry about that little bit there. I had to find the file. So we had taken the NR 151 egg standards and prohibitions and kind of put them into 4 categories, group 1, 2, 3, and 4, to try to put them into groups to kind of bring together discussions within the smaller groups. And then as we come back together as a large group, everyone again would have the opportunity to speak on that. Joseph is going to lead us through the process. I would ask you, do you have any questions specifically of what some of those egg standards and prohibitions are that I can answer now as a group before you dive into discussions? Yes.
It might be informative to point out which of these have to include cost share if you're going to require them, and which ones don't.
Okay. Let's see if I can get all of this on screen at one time. Can you see that from there? Okay, within the egg performance standards, as Paul mentioned, there is a requirement for us to provide cost share in some instances to bring a farmer into compliance. And sometimes we are not required to provide cost sharing. We'll start kind of back down here at the bottom here. The unconfined manure piles within a water quality management area is nothing that requires cost sharing. I have to go back through. Maintaining manure storage structures from overflowing does not require cost sharing. You avoid tilling within 5 feet of the streams does not require cost sharing. And the meeting of the tolerable soil loss is again one that does not require cost sharing. In essence, the rest of them do require cost sharing because of the inputs which may be required of that egg producer. Any other questions?
Just a clarification, farmland preservation people in that, signing up for that, that does not require cost sharing. They must have a nutrient management plan for to get the tax relief.
Participants in farmland preservation program do have to follow these egg standards. We do not have to offer cost share. It is an optional thing for our office. If we have the funding, we could offer cost share.
And then under, if you have a local ordinance, like a livestock facility siting ordinance, and then you meet the specifications, then you will have to do your own, pay for your own manure storage, is my understanding.
In some instances under livestock siting, you are more restricting the location and siting of the facility and not the installation of the facilities.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? Joseph is going to lead us through a process, yes.
Okay, my name is Joseph Madhuwal. I'm with Extension here. My role today is to lead with the process of the decision making.
You want me to get that computer up?
Yeah, if you put this one off. Oh, okay. I
just have to plug you in.
So Greg talked about this, the rule of the objective for today, so I don't need to talk about that. So before we go to this, and then we have to watch the time too. We have 1 hour and 40 minutes, I think, or 1 hour and 30 something minutes. We're going to be divided into the group that you are already divided into. The rule of the game is that there's no bad idea. Okay, and every person here will have to give an input. That's why I brought some stuff here for one group. Each person will have to write an issue or concern, if there's any. One concern on one of these sticker per every person in that group. And then when you finish that, now you come as a group and share what you have. Okay, and from that, there should be a theme that should emerge from that one. You may have 3 or 4 or 5 themes, depending on what you are finding. And then those themes now will have to go on a flip chart here, which I'm going to give you. You're going to write those on the wall for your group. Same thing for each group. Okay, those becomes issues. Now, when that is done, we're going to come back as you know, together. That way you will have a chance to see what other people have done and what they're thinking about. And then if there's a repetition or some, common thing, we're going to combine them together. We're going to have a larger group concern 5, 6, 7. And then when we do that, when we finish that, we will come through the process of ranking those issues. Now, maybe one person will have some issue that they are very, concerned about. Another person will have something different. But how do you come to consensus? Okay, so the consensus here doesn't mean that we have total agree on something. Then we do that through ranking. Okay, consequences of that issue, if not addressed, severity from 1 to 5. 5 being the most severe. So you have an issue here, one issue here, and then you rank it. Okay, so one person will say, for me that is 5 or 4. Then we come with averages that will rank our issues for us here. Which, if we have time, which we should, those issues become the base for your recommendation. Okay, this is an issue. This is my recommendation for the issue at the group level. That makes sense? And if you have any technical questions, great. Mark, everybody will be here to help answer those questions. Right now, 1 hour and 30. What I do sometimes, I tend to be a little rude because people sometimes, go to talk about other issues and that kind of deviates from the focus. But I will be coming around and make sure that everybody's thinking about that. Ready?
We're talking about issues and recommendations specifically for NR 151, not for groundwater?
Correct. Okay. And Greg, correct me if I'm wrong.
Yes, correct. We're working on specifically at our 151 at this period. Yes.
Yeah. And
what are we going to do? Just look at it and say we don't like it? What is the ground plan here to what? To do what? I mean, these are state regulations. So they're there, we can't change those. Is it the question of what can we do locally to enforce these, to make sure that our farmers are, I don't know, what is it? What is it you want to see out of this?
Part of the question would be is these are currently state rules and regulations.
Right.
They are not part of county code at this time, and they are not part of county ordinances. Is this something that we should incorporate into county?
Okay, that's the question.
Yeah.
All right.
Can I maybe add something here? As I understand the way the system works now is, let's say a site is identified somehow or another that's in violation of one of these. And my experience was usually the county learns about it first and they get concerned about it, but they can't enforce. Only DNR can write the letter saying that, okay, we're going to do enforcement. And so then the DNR writes the letter, and then frequently the county winds up working with the farmer and figuring out how to pay for it, and getting it done? I mean, is that kind of the description of the status quo now?
That's a good description of the status quo here within Eau Claire County today.
And so
And
what
we
we're
do
talking-
not have the ability within Eau Claire County today to issue citations or try to bring enforcement action on any NR 151 portion because we don't have that currently within county code. We
And
do
so
rely upon the DNR.
If we choose to put it in your local ordinances, and you don't have to get that letter from the DNR, you can just do it. So it simplifies that process. I know when I was involved with it, it seemed pretty complicated, all this back and forth, and all the DNR did was write the letter, and the county did all the work. It was an interesting setup.
Yes, I would agree with you in that description. I'll relay a story which we had recently, just a couple of years ago. There's an operation in Chippewa County. Was bringing manure into Eau Claire County on their own land, piling the manure near a pond, which is clearly a violation of NR 151. They were stacking manure in a water quality management area. I contacted my counterpart in Chippewa County and the Department of Natural Resources. They had been working with this landowner, farmer, trying to get him to come into compliance with NR 151 problems. I had a situation where I'm watching it rain and run off into the pond, and I could do nothing because I had to rely upon DNRs going through their process. It was going to go through DNR and then to Department of Justice. A year later, nothing had happened.
And I can kind of tell a story like that from the other angle. Somebody came to us and pointed out, a pile and too close to the river. And we contacted the county and said, well, this is a pretty bad thing. We're willing to write the letter if you're willing to work with this guy. And it wasn't Eau Claire County, it was a different county. And they said, well, we don't really want to make him have to move it twice. He promised he'll hurry up and move it as quick as he can, but he wants to put it on his fields. And so they kind of took the slow approach. Well, it started raining, the river came up and the pile washed into the river. So, I mean, this is a complicated situation between these two organizations. And I think it's great that the county wants to streamline it because it's kind of messy.
Yes.
In terms of this process, are there more options for what sort of recommendations we're considering other than adoption of NR 151 into local ordinance?
We could consider adopting all of NR 151, part of NR 151, incorporating NR 151 for people who participate or who potentially come in for a manure storage permit, and only those people. So there's all sorts of options. That's where we'll get towards the end of the scope of what we would like to do.
And I think thinking about, what do you do with this is that, they say knowledge is power, right? And so even if this group cannot do anything because there is state regulation or something like that, but having that knowledge that this is actually affecting the well-being of a certain population,